Wicked, evil, and vile. Those are three words best used to describe the serial killer Ted Bundy. And on tonight's review, we are going to be talking about the 2019 Netflix biopic starring Zac Efron as Ted Bundy. Stay tuned. Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile tells the biopic life story of Ted Bundy, but not in the usual way you would expect. Now, I would normally read you sort of the premise or IMDb kind of premise that they usually have on there, but it kind of spoils something that happens a little later on in the movie, so I would advise you not to read that or to even watch probably the trailer for this movie. Go in and watch it blindly like I did. I knew Zac Efron was playing Ted Bundy, and I really don't know anything about Ted Bundy. I'll disclose that right now. Other than knowing that he was a serial killer, that is the only thing I knew about Ted Bundy. I didn't know the type of crimes or where the crimes took place. I didn't know the time period. I knew none of that. So I was going into this for the first time seeing Ted Bundy as pretty much he's portrayed in this movie. I didn't sort of have that false pretense or knowing how vile and disgusting the man was. So let's get to what is good about Shockingly Wicked, Evil, Vile. I'm probably going to mess that name up multiple times throughout this review, so don't get mad as far as preference. Zac Efron, wow, he does a fantastic job. I never really had Zac Efron on my radar as far as, fantastic actors. I've always known him to sort of just be the goofball. Are you talking to me? You're talking to me. Like in Neighbors or the Baywatch movie with The Rock, and more so on that kind of comedic era. I'd never really seen him being more of a dramatic, especially something for this type of role where you have to almost play it in so many different ways. You have to be very cunning and very sort of luring and false, but then you're also brutal, and the next flip of a hat you're also evil. And to portray both of those in the same film as the same character and the same the actor, phenomenal job. And his co-partner in this movie, the woman that he falls in love with, Lily Collins, plays Liz Kendall, and she does a fantastic job as well.
Do you remember the night we met?
Almost in a way that this movie is almost split, and I love the direction that they took in this movie. It's not so much your typical crime, true crime kind of movie where it's maybe they start with him as a boy and they explain, why is he doing what he's doing, and then we fast forward in time, he's killings, and then the trial, and then it's over. This one, the way they do the story is almost split between her story and how Ted's actions and how the court cases and how his sort of obsession with her is sort of draining the life out of her. He's slowly killing her, and we get to see that journey in her life, going from meeting him to the obsession to, almost throwing her life away for Ted, and then what happens, a little later on. And we get to see how Ted sort of goes from just meeting this young lady to being in the court and going through that type of system. And I love that they didn't focus on so much the killings. The killings were almost not even in the movie. They only show, I think, one killing that he does amongst 30 20, 30 victims or something very high number like that. And they show the amount of victims at the end of the movie. They give you a list of the names. And I'll say it hit me really hard. Like, that was a moment where I was like, I need to watch a cartoon movie after this, because the movie itself, it's not really heavy. It's not overtone as far as the graphic violence or anything of that nature or how evil it can get, but it really gets under your skin, and almost in the best way. I know that's not really quite the best way of saying that, but it really does get under your skin. And I found myself throughout Zac Efron's performance as Ted Bundy believing in his innocence.
Such a good idea, and I wish I could, but I can't. I'm sorry, I have to pull an all-nighter tonight at the law library.
All-nighter?
Yeah, I gotta make sure I'm the most prepared attorney in the courtroom once my trial starts.
Multiple times throughout this movie until the third act, I believe maybe he was innocent. And it almost brings a bigger question to the film is, did Ted Bundy actually believe he was innocent, or was he portraying that throughout this movie and lying and just sort of conniving and tricking the media and the audience and all the people that he loved in his life? Was he that almost mastermind genius of a criminal? Or was he actually believing, hey, I'm innocent? Maybe he was crazy. Maybe there's two sides of that. I don't quite know. They do show you a little later on, after the movie is wrapped up, they show you some of the performances, and you can see word for word they took some of the stuff from the actual trial and some of the stuff Ted Bundy said, and even the mannerisms, the actions, the way he, moved around, that evil smile, everything was spot on with the actual real footage to where they showed in the movie. And it's very rare that films get that correct. It's very rare that a movie that is an hour and 50 minutes can actually hold your attention. I mean, when I first saw that it was going to be this long, I was very hesitant in watching this movie. Especially long movies do not sit well with me. Especially I was watching this movie at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Never mind why, but I was just watching it that early in the morning. So typically I would probably have fell asleep, but I found myself interested throughout this movie. Let's move on to what is bad about this film, but there's probably not very much. Yeah, I can't think of too much to say as far as what's bad about this movie. Maybe I would say the cinematography of it wasn't really anything that you haven't seen done in a well done movie before. I mean, it's a well done, well shot film, but it's nothing fantastic. There's nothing eye catching as far as the shots in this film. That's really the only bad thing I think I can say about it. The length is spot on. It's just the right amount of time. There's not too much time wasted, and you feel that you got enough of Ted Bundy's character as well as Liz's story, as well as some of the other characters that we become introduced to throughout this movie. It really begs the question of what were they thinking with The Haunting of Sharon Tate. If Netflix can produce something this great, I would love to see them try to take on Charles Manson. And maybe this piqued my interest into the whole true crime, serial killer kind of era. I'm not really a big fan of that, especially how society is sort of our views on it lately, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. And maybe I'll make another video about that whole fiasco of what I think what I think it's doing to America. If you have Netflix, I highly recommend you give this a watch. Fantastic movie. Yeah, that is it for my review on I have to look at it. That's my review on Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Streaming right now on Netflix's 2019 release. And if you guys saw it, or if you are interested, leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for the support. I know it's really hard, and I spoke about this. It's really hard speaking about horror and being a part of the horror community. I really feel like I'm alone out here. So Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for getting me to the next level. We are on our way to 5K, and from there on, hopefully you have a great day, a great weekend, whenever you're watching this. Thank you guys, and peace out.